Hello everyone, I'm back with a new tutorial. To those wondering where have I been, I have been streaming my dev work on Twitch, where I do all my dev stuff. I do it pretty frequently, several times a month. Not that frequent, but I'm working on it. So yeah, if you want to catch me, follow my Twitch, there's a link in the description. And let's go dive right into the topic of this tutorial. What we're gonna be working on today is adding this jacket. So in your case it can be any piece of clothing from the internet or the one that you modeled yourself, or for example from Sims 4 or Sims 3 or whatever, right into GTA 5, FiveM in our case, but that doesn't matter. It can be just base GTA or HMP, really, the technique is the same, to your Freemode character, which is this guy, serving as a base model. I assume you would know what Freemode model is. If you're getting a deal from someone asking you to make a model, a piece of clothing, it's most likely for Freemode character. But if it's not for Freemode character, all the technique is the same. But if you're a clothing guy, what you have to know about, 90% of your work is this guy. We're not going to be focusing on male or female in particular. This tutorial is universal for both, it doesn't matter. And when I will finish making the jacket, you will find it in my store if you wish. We have a lot of characters here, link in description. Under Freemode clothing there's going to be a V jacket. It's all fair. I'm going to be making a tutorial on how exactly I made it, and if you, for example, don't want to follow it, there's no secret or anything. If you're too lazy, or if you just want to buy it your FiveM server and you don't have a developer, you're more than welcome to find it in my store. If you able to repeat the process and do it yourself, you just watch the tutorial, a bit more work, sure, but at least it's free. Alright, so let's actually start making shit. So, in this tutorial we're gonna need 3ds Max any version. I use a free student license, it's not hard to get, and I suggest you doing the same. And we're gonna need GIMPs plugin for it. It's not any version for the GIMPs. By the way, here's my Discord channel where I assist mappers and mod makers, closing guys, closing makers, and be sure to join, link in the description if you want some help. But what you're actually going to be looking for is under tools and links. There is latest version of the GIMPs. It's actually a new version. It came out just a few days ago when I'm making this tutorial, and you download it, and it's suitable for all 3ds Max versions. Thanks Kirill Mapper for this version of modified version of GIMPs. And then you install it, and we start our work. Of course, you're also gonna need OpenIV. I assume you would know what OpenIV is by now. It's just basically how we work with the GTA format files. If not, I'm gonna leave a link in the description to Toby's tutorial. It's gonna like 5 or 6 minutes in how to set up your OpenIV folders, but I'm gonna be showing and displaying it here as well. So this is the only tutorial you will need to be good at adding Freemode clothing to your first step to adding Freemode clothing to the game. So when we establish the programs we're going to be working in, the next thing we do is we actually import the model we're going to be working on. In my case it's this jacket, and I use FBX format. So how do I import it? I copy the path, I go to File, Import. So if you're using anything from the internet, jacket, initial, jacket FBX, it can be FBX, OBJ, wherever you want from the internet really. And here it is, it's pretty huge. Just for the sake of the viewport, we're gonna add a base diffuse albedo texture to it by just drag and dropping. So here's our jacket. We just imported a model from Cyberpunk into the viewport. So the next thing we do is it's maybe not obvious for you, but it's freaking huge. So how do we match the size? This is issue number 1 you're gonna encounter if you're gonna be converting anything to GTA5. How do you match the size? And this is the step 1 of actual process that you're gonna be working on each time you add a new model. So what I'm implying is that we will need a reference from GTA 5. How do we find any and then import it into Max. So we go into toby.space, link in the description, where we basically filter and search for GTA clothes. So in our case, it's gonna be male, and instead of all groups, we're gonna search for JBIB, JBIB being kind of upper body clothing, so like hoodies and stuff like that. And what we're searching for here is we're trying to match, and it will make sense for you later, but we're trying to match so the piece of clothing we take from GTA looks similar to geometrically, topologically, to the stuff we will be working on here. So, by the way, there's a lot of polygons. We'll be working on LOD in this tutorial as well. So, and optimization. So, this doesn't match because it doesn't have the sleeves, right? This one is closed, so it doesn't match for us as well because our chest is open. So I'm just trying to show you the process of how do you actually pick it. So this actually matches. We have the neck area here, kind of going up. It's opened. It has long sleeves. So it's kind of what we're looking for, right? So I doubt we will find anything better. So after we establish the actual picture of the model we will be taking as a reference, we have to import it into Max, and this would be step number 2. So what you do is you take this, and after you have npm Freemode 01 being which character it is attached to, being npm Freemode everywhere here really, you go to which DLC it is located in. So in our case it's npm YmtEditor. So you go to OpenIV into update x64 DLC packs, and you search for npm YmtEditor. You can filter it by going to DLC packs and just type YmtEditor. Don't forget to clear your filter. Then go to DLC RPF, x64 models, CD images, and here we have it's male, so we search for male, not female. We go to male. And here we have our npm Freemode 01, npm YmtEditor, exactly what we have here. So you can just copy your path up to here each time you search for a piece of clothing. And then after you located the path manually or by search, you enter the folder, and here we search for JBIB09, which the name is implying. So we can filter it by JBIB. And let's search for 09 if it's ours, not 09U1. We search for exactly 19. Not 09 but 19, sorry for that. And as we see, it's exactly the model we were looking for. So what do we actually do from here? So it's extremely important to import it correctly. I just created a folder called vjacket. Inside initial I have my 3 textures, all the texture maps, and my FBX. But let's create a folder called GTA Vanilla. It's just easier for the tutorial to filter things so you don't get too confused. Because I remember for me the first time, like several years ago, it was extremely hard. So I just copied the path, I pasted it, and I exported it. What did I actually do? So there is YDT being GTA format. I right click, export to open format. Y becomes O for open. And here it's now as open format. GIMPs only works with open format files, so that's why I did that. And it's only the raw geometry, but we're also gonna need the textures. And for closing, it's very important to get the textures right, because closing in GTA5 is very capricious, trust me. So what I'm looking for here is we have JBIB diff, standing for diffuse, 017, JKLMNOP, so it goes for alphabet for each piece of clothing texture. It's only for piece of clothing, 1 texture per texture dictionary, remember that. And we search for 19A being the first texture, A, and we export it as open formats as well. YTT becomes OTT, quite simple. And now if we open this folder, we have our texture here, quite simple, as I said. And the last thing we're gonna need is every time we work with clothing, we're gonna need bones, right? Because there is skinning involved. We're gonna talk about this a bit later, but the path you're gonna navigate to is x64b rpf model cd images stream pets mp.rpf, or just search for npm Freemode 01 in your search bar, like this. And then you go, right here you have your skeleton, YFT fragment object. It is a skeleton. So one thing you're gonna need, and it's extremely important, you right click, export skeleton to open formats, the same destination, it's extremely important. Then you copy the name of your ODD, your model, rename, Control C, and then you rename your skeleton so the GIMS knows to which piece of clothing the skeleton is attached to, Control V, and then extremely important, space, full. Meaning it is a full skeleton, it's just for GIMS, don't ask me why, this is just how it works. You just have to do it right or you will have issues otherwise, trust me on that one. Then you open up your GIMS, go to import, go to your, oops, wrong destination, go to your V-Jacket and then GTA Vanilla. Here we have our ODD. You press open, now it asks where does the texture lie, and it's exactly the same destination, so I just click select the same folder, and now we wait so it imports. Let's continue after it's done importing. So now after it's done importing, you clearly see the issue. This is GTA size, this is the size of our jacket, so what do we do? There's no comfortable solution for it really. You actually just gonna have to scale it down. So probably it's like 1000 times bigger. So I just right click, scale, and where it says 100, I just go to 1. For each axis. And let's see about the size. It's still bigger, so it wasn't even 100 times bigger, so then I just scale it down manually like so. It's not precise process as you see, you just do your best. You can do it from multiple viewports, Alt W for that, Z to navigate to your model faster. So with some time I managed to scale it down and position it somewhat the same. There's still slight differences between it, but it's whatever, we will be able to fix it later. Be careful with sleeve area, with neck areas, be careful with that your back kind of matches the back of GTA model. But for the purpose of this tutorial, this will do. Just an example, right? You care about the technique first, and then you will master all the other stuff. So what actually skinning is? So we're gonna have to skin this model, and if we go to our high polygon mesh, if we hide our low and medium polygon meshes, we go to select our bone, just F3, and left click on upper arm, go to spine, those are all bones, spine 3, clavicle, then you have your upper arm, then go to E to rotate, and this is what skinning is. So the geometry follows the bones. And this is exactly what we're gonna have to do for our mesh for it to work properly. How do we do that? So this is exactly why we try to pick somewhat the same jacket, so we transfer most of the skinning from A to B. So what do we do here? We grab our GTA high polygon model, being high at the end here, go to editable mesh, yes, then go to attach, and we attach, then we click on our V-jacket, so non-GTA custom piece of clothing. Then we click OK. Now, if we go to polygon mode, this is all now one model, you see? So how do we delete one from another, right? Because we only need V-jacket, we don't need the base GTA model. So what you do is you select your polygon of GTA base model, then you go to surface properties, then you go to material ID, select IDs. You can think of it as textures for now. So how do we select all of the polygons with this texture assigned? I just click select ID. It's good. Now I just press delete. Great. Now we have our base mesh here. So the next thing is after we attached it, we're gonna have to make sure that our skinning works correctly. And how do we do that? First things first, you raise your upper arms. So select your bone, being left upper arm, then go left alt, right click, freeze rotation. So now, if I rotate it any degrees. So, oh my god, how far did I rotate it? How do I bring it back? Oh my god, I don't know. I'm gonna break everything, start from the beginning. Nope. You just go F3, go back where you freezed it, left Alt, right click, rotation to 0. And it goes to default position where you freezed it. So it's extremely important to freeze your rotation, freeze your position, and then start the manual work. So, what do? You enable your angle snap with 5 degrees or 5 degrees. And then you raise it up, let's say 30 degrees or 35 or 40. And what do we see here? If our character raises his left arm, this is what happens. Oh shit, obviously it's incorrect. So what do we do here? And this is where the skinning starts, really. We select our model, go to skin modifier, we go to edit envelopes, we click vertices because we're gonna work with vertices. And then you go into this range weight tool, and you're always going to keep it somewhere on your left. So this is where we work with bone. So each vertex has its weight to the bone. This is how the game understands which vertex to move when each bone is moving. So in our case, we just moved left upper arm, right? So let's go and select left upper arm bone here and see which vertices it is attached to. So red meaning 100% attachment, orange meaning like 80, blue meaning like 20, and if it's just gray, like here, or white, it's 0% attachment. So this is exactly what we see here. And those vertices, they are red to upper arm, which shouldn't happen. So, but to which bone do we actually attach it? So if you understand how it works, the anatomy of it, or how to move the bones, you should be able to tell that, alright, let's bring it back to spine or stuff like that. But actually you don't really have to understand all this stuff just yet, because sure, you could just grab spine 2, for example, right here, and start selecting those vertices by left clicking and then hitting plus, meaning more weights here, less weights to upper arm, right? But I suggest you going with even a bit simpler things with stuff like that. So this vertex is next to this vertex, but this isn't broken while this is broken. So we just select the vertex next to it, select copy weights, and then we paste that here. So we just copied weights. So this vertex is next to this vertex, so they should act somewhat the same. So I just copied that. This right here should act somewhat the same as those, right? So I just paste those, and as you see, it's extremely faster to do it like that. So you just grab the vertices, the neighboring vertices, and you kind of try and fix it. It's not gonna work with this, so you just select your upper arm. It should have less affection when upper arm is moving. So what do? We select it, and we go to minus, so less affection. Quite simple if you think about it. And we do the same. You can mass select it if you want, if you're able to track all this stuff like this. So let's say I selected it massively. Alright, I think I control these things, what's going on here. So, alright, I think it's good. Now to a bit more harder part, we see bullshit stuff going on here. How do we go about fixing that? I wish I could do it in like 5 times more speed, but there is no way to do it faster, guys. Skinning is the hardest part of the process, and it takes more time. So let's dive into fixing more troubled parts like this. And there's no new technique I'm gonna be showing you. You just go inside, you see what the fuck is going on here, you go F3, and you select it vertex by vertex. So it should have less affection to upper arm, but since it's only attached to 2 bones, giving it more or less doesn't make any sense. So you manually select a bone, being, let's say, spine 3, which is this bone here, and you say more affection to spine 2, meaning less affection to upper arm, and you just raise it down. For now we can do it not very precise, because we're just trying to get rid of the mass going on here, of this terrible mass. So just gonna have to lower it down, not necessarily doing it super precise. For now we just have to figure out what goes where before being too precise with it. I just give it more affection to spine. Spine being when your spine is moving. I think that's the whole point of skinning. Which bone is moving? You can think of it as your own body, really, if it makes it easier for you. Be careful and only select the vertices you actually want to move. Okay, we're somewhat figuring out this mess one by one. And in your case, it may be faster or it may be more complicated, but what's good is that no matter how complicated your model is, all the technique is always the same. You always do the same stuff over and over. Okay, so I kind of start to see what goes where here. I think it's important to do this on camera so you guys know how to deal with this kind of mess, because if you're doing it first time, I'm sure you will have a bad time with it. Just be patient, don't rage with it, go slow, try to think about what you're doing, because you see, I'm not trying to do it right at all the things at once. I'm not trying to do it right as final version. I'm just trying to get rid of the mess here, of all the vertices clipping into each other, going crazy. And mostly the mess is done here. Now we kind of see the vertices we have to be working on. So now let's go to this part, spine. Copy the weights to these guys. Obviously they need to be more to spine. So you see it getting better and better each second. Just be patient with it. Copy the weights of neighboring vertices. Fix it. So clavicle is something that right here, basically shoulder. It's something you're gonna be, you have to pay attention to as well. I'm only gonna be doing this hand, and the other hand I'm gonna do off camera. Okay, so right. What I can tell you is that we are lucky that with jacket we don't have to work with fingers, because trust me on that one. Ooh, scanning fingers is the worst thing you can be doing in terms of your nerves. This is something you can look for at my addon pad tutorial, where you can learn how to add any character to GTA5 from the internet or from any game. I think I skinned fingers for like 50 minutes of the video. Okay, we're mostly good. Let me finish the chop here a little quick off camera, and then we'll continue from there. So I think I'm kind of done with this hand, and I know that by, let's say we move it and we see that it's somewhat alright. So if you try and achieve something like that where it looks natural, I think I'm done with this hand for the purpose of this video. And when you're done, you just go F3, left alt, left click, rotation to 0. And this is when your hand goes back. So unfortunately, this is exactly what you're gonna have to do for your right hand as well. Freeze rotation, then raise it like 30 degrees or 40 degrees. And I'm gonna have to do this process for the right hand again. And after I'm done with this, I'm gonna continue the video and we'll continue from there. Alright, I think I'm done with this hand as well. If I rotate it, it looks kinda alright. So I think I'm done with this for now. Rotation to 0. And now we dive into the next part of this tutorial is optimizing your model, because currently if you go to plus, configure viewports, statistics, total plus selection, this being total, this being selection, if we select our model, it has 16,000, almost 17,000 polygons, which is a lot. Worst case scenario, it should be like 5-6K for jacket. So let's optimize all of our models and create LODs for it. So when you change the distance, the quality of your models changes. Without visually it won't be noticed, but it will be a lot more optimized. And obviously we care about optimized work. So once you're done with skinning, what do you do? So how do we actually create LODs? So select your main model, go to editable mesh, press 1, which is vertex mode, Control A, and hit weld, which is 001 threshold. Just type 001, then select, and it has welded all the vertices. Now here is our previous LOD from previous models. Notice the difference between low and medium. You can definitely tell that, but we're gonna create our own LODs. So let's take our highest polygon model. And now hit Control V to copy, to clone. Make sure to copy it as a copy, not as instance. Let's just name it med, which is medium LOD. Okay, now we have two jackets at the same spot. However, this one we're gonna optimize. Press delete, delete. Now go to Pro Optimizer. This modifier allows you to automatically optimize your model. Make sure to press keep textures. Now we go to calculate the amount of vertices. So currently it's 5k vertices and 10k polygons. Let's say we want to optimize it 50%. Okay, it has optimized it 50%. If I turn on and off the modifier, we can see the difference, but at distance you won't be able to tell at all. So it's decent optimization. Then you just collapse all, and that would be our medium LOD. Now we hit Control V again, and now we create low LODs. There are 3 LOD levels, now we make it low level. The process is the same. Now we have 3 jackets here. The process is the same. Now we work on low LOD, Pro Optimizer, keep textures, calculate, and we're gonna make even 50% of that, which still looks too good. So let's make it 30%. Yeah, 30% is alright. This is how it looks. So now we collapse all, and now this is all of our jackets. And can you actually tell the difference? This is a point of good optimization, making it a lot more optimized while keeping the same visuals. So we did a decent job. Now, next part is pretty important as well, how to combine it all together. So what we actually do is exactly the same. We go to our medium low LOD, we go to editable mesh, we unhide our medium LOD of ours, we attach it, go to material ID, delete the previous model, and it's good. We do the same for low, we unhide vanilla low, we unhide our low, and we attach it to ours, like so. And then we delete the previous LOD. And now we have proper LOD setup. So now, if I select this, so you go for perspective, plus, configure viewports, statistics, total plus selection. This is total, this is selection. So with high we have 10k polygons, with medium we have 5k, and with low we have 1.5. So this is somewhat decent optimization. Worst case scenario, it should be like 5-6k really is the highest polygon model, but it's whatever for the purpose of this tutorial. When I will polish this, I will release it on my store, link in the description. So when we're done with LODs, the next part is renaming and streaming it as addon to FiveM, really. But let's deal with the materials first. So if we go to material editor, and we go to pick material from object, we're gonna see two materials, one being default one, vanilla GTA one, and second one being ours. So what do? We go to editable mesh, and we see that our material is material number 2, which is fine, but it's standard physical material, or standard material in your case, but it has to be GIMS material. Otherwise it will not work. What do we do about that? So where it says submaterial, you click here. Then when it says physical material, you select GIMS material, and that's it. Though your texture is gone, so we have to assign it, after we convert to GIMS material, we have to assign it manually. And this is where texturing and renaming part starts. So why the hell it's JBeep019? Because we took it as a reference. But when you stream it as add-on, it has to be 0, 0, 0. Because it's the first in your list. So everything you see, every number here, you always, when you make add-on, you always make it 0, 0, 0. Unless you want it to be part of the same DLC, where you have multiple jackets. But in our case, we just want to add one jacket as DLC. So we renamed it here. Now we go to material, so we go GIMS, material editor, and here we still have the old names. What do? As simple as just renaming them. Alright. Also, your add-on closing should always be U at the end. Stands for universal. Alright, keep that in mind, only U at the end. So now you go to second material, being our material, click here, and where it says diffuse, it says empty. But we actually have our textures here under initial. Let's open them all up. This is diffuse texture, our color. This is our normal map, stands for bumpiness. And this is our specular map, stands for reflections. It's all 2K, which is too much. Let's resize them to either 1024, never do 2K, or never do 4K. Let's resize it to 1K. I might even end up with making it 520. But let's keep it 1024. Also, it has to be in the power of 2. Keep that in mind. So 1024, 512, 256, power of 2 textures. We save them all, but we should save them not as PNG but DDS. So we click Save As. Instead of PNG, you save it as DDS. If you don't have that option, you have to download Windows tool for working with DDS. I assume you have this file now. If not, the link is in the description. But we save it under which name. So when we exported our model, we have this name here. We copy it from our YTD's name, paste it here, but where it says 19, we make it 00. Basically, you don't have to copy, it's just piece of component. So JBeep had lower, then diff stands for diffuse, then number being 000 when it's add-on, then A being the first action in the list, and then uni stands for universal. You save it. Then where it says normal, it's simpler here because if we go to JBeep, here again, it's just called normal. So we go save, and let's save it as JBeep normal 000. JBeep normal 09, but now in case it's 000. Let's copy that and save it as DDS. Now we go to our specular map, and for this it's the same. But where it says normal, it's spec. And I don't do it just for fun, for the sport. It's extremely important for save it as DDS again, for closing to keep the naming correct. Otherwise it will not work, trust me on that one. Now where it says diffuse texture, you click it. Where it says empty, you navigate to that path being the jacket, initial, and you click for DDS texture with correct name in it. And now we see our texture displayed here. Next important thing to understand is shaders, because it says default, but if you go back to material 1 being vanilla material, it's not default but pad. Don't look at that, it doesn't matter, parameter set. Our main thing is shader pad, so we go back to our material, and where it says default we make it pad. If the closing doesn't have pad shader, it will crash your game. So closing should have pad shader, either pad or pad default, it doesn't matter. And here you have the option to select your bump map. We embed it. Make sure to embed your bump map, but don't embed your diffuse map. So you don't embed your main color map, but you embed your bumpiness map, and you do the same for your specular map. And it's all the same correct name. So if I go to vanilla material, what do I see here? It's correct naming, but it's embedded. Do we want the old textures to be embedded in our custom model? Of course not, so I disembed it, right? Diffuse is not embedded, so we don't care about that one, but keep attention to the naming, even here it's correct. And for specular texture, I disembed it as well. So the old specular 19, ours is 000, it is embedded for our model. And this name is correct, this name is correct, material name is correct, shader is correct. We disembed the old materials, so we're done with material editor. We created our LODs. The last thing we have to do is if your piece of clothing is shaking on the wind, what you have to do is go to editable mesh, vertices, Control A, and select your illumination, make it 0. For color, usually it's this orange vertex color, just make it this 255, 128, 0. For vertex color is basically how does your model interact with lights. Sunlight and artificial light, doesn't matter, but be sure your illumination 0 and your color is orange for default or non-emissive models. So then you just copy this, and we do the same for our LODs. Obviously, you go to medium, you Control A, you paste that here, make illumination 0, so your model doesn't shake on the wind. It's extremely important to make illumination 000 on RGB being black. I already see people commenting with this issue, but I already told you what to do. But if you have any issues, go to my Discord channel. This is where I just took the color under my tools and links. So be sure to enter my Discord channel where I help mappers if you have questions with this tutorial. And we actually done here. We're done with all CDS Max things we had to do, which is skinning. First it was importing and renaming, importing my real model correctly, then skinning, and then renaming plus texturing. And shaders, right? Now we have to export it, which is extremely easy to do. Make sure to save your scene, Control S, to always have backups, guys. Then you just go at export. Let's create a folder called export. And within the export folder, I like to keep steps, so I have multiple backups. So I can bring back the files. So in our case, it's step number 1, progress, right? Select folder. Here we have our hierarchy if you wanted to look at it. So you can once more make sure all the naming is correct. Now just click continue, and let's continue when it's done exporting. Our model is now exported. So here we have our JPEG 000 OGG open format. We have to convert it back to GTA format. If you go here again, we see all our textures and all our files are named correctly, which means we did a good job. Then you go back to OpenIV and you search for any folder, really anything for close, it doesn't matter, but I suggest you setting up a nice path like I have here under DLC packs, x64 levels, just right click, create, really right click, new folder, x64, GTA5 and RPF with any name. But there's gonna be a tutorial in the description with 5-minute video from Toby how to set this up. But for pixel closing, it doesn't matter, because all you have to do is just drag and drop it from left to right. And now we have our model here. But where is our texture? So if I go to view embedded texture, I see the two textures we have embedded, but where is our texture? So we have to, if you remember, we were exporting our GTA jacket with this texture dictionary. So we have to actually create another texture dictionary for our models. This is why it is so important to keep the naming the same and correct. So you just right click, new YTD texture dictionary, Control V the old name, but we just make it 00. Okay, it has created YTD, but it is now empty. So you right click, edit, and you import our diffuse texture. GDS diffuse texture with correct name, which is this. If the name is not correct, it will not work. So you click save, and now if we open this model up, it already assigned the texture. So you see those angles here, right? It is called smoothing groups. So in order to fix that, you just select your model. Oops, sorry for that. Polygons, Control A. Then you go to clear all, auto smooth, and it's done. But you would have to re-export it also. So now we're done. How do we stream those files as add-on to Freemode to FiveM servers? This is the last part of the video. It's quite easy. In order to stream that to FiveM, we would have to create it as a separate DLC and stream it as separate DLC. And we're going to create one more file called YMT, which is metadata file for our clauses. We're going to need this website for ease. So I'm going to leave the links in the description. What you're going to do is you're going to navigate down and you search for this manifest data. So what that is you go to your server, FiveM server. I have a tutorial on how to create your FiveM server. If anything, the link is in the description. You go to your resources, you go right click, new folder. Let's call it vjacket. Inside here, you create a folder called stream. And here you create a text document called fxmanifest.lua. Then you open it up, even with Notepad, it doesn't matter, and you just copy this data from this website. So now, when you've done that, let's close it, and we're gonna have to come up with some name for our DLC. So here is our ready files. What do we do from here? We have to slightly rename them. How do we do that? We go rename, and at the end we go to which DLC it is attached to. Remember, like on Toby's website. So we go which character, which is mpm Freemode 01. If it was female, instead of M, you press F 01. Then the name of the DLC, let's call it vjacket. Pretty simple. And then this sign, I don't know how it's called, but we can even do it like this, vjacket and this sign. Let me copy it. So again, it's name of character it is attached to, and after that your DLC name right here. Okay, then this sign, after that the name of the model component, its number, universal, YTD being GTA format. Now you do exactly the same for YTD. Make sure they're all the same and correct. Now you go back here and you open up your manifest, and where it says tutorial close that we copied from here, we're not gonna call our DLC that, right? We already called it the jacket. So where it says tutorial close, you change it to your any name. It can be, so in my case it's vjacket. In your case it can be anything. So the name doesn't matter. It just has to be English. So MP up to here is the same, then it's your DLC name. But here it says F, while in our case it's not female but male. So we change it to male. Control S to save it, and our manifest is done. But here it has some meta file, so that it refers to, but we haven't created one yet, so it's extremely easy to do as well, actually. So what you do is right click, new text document, you paste all of your info, npm Freemode 01 v jacket. You remove this sign and you press, you change it to meta. So now if we open up our manifest, make sure this matches this name, npm Freemode 01 v jacket. Alright, it's correct. It's now streamed into the server. Now what is the internal part of this file? It's pretty easy as well. We just go a bit more up and we copy this data. I'm gonna explain it very easily, don't worry about that. So where it says mpf Freemode, it's name of the character it is attached to. In our case it's not female but male, so we change F to M. Where it says tutorial close, it's his, by the way, saying cursor big, or I don't know how to pronounce it for YmtEditor. And this tutorial, it's his DLC's name, but our DLC's name is the jacket. Oops, do not delete anything we actually need. And now we copy that, and here it says full DLC name, so it's pet name plus DLC name. npm Freemode 01 v jacket. Quite straightforward. Where it says char multiplayer, F is for female characters. So here it says E character. So put F if it's female and just this if it's male. So all we have to do is delete this part where it says that it's female. And here again, mp creature metadata, tutorial closes. In our case, it's the jacket. Control S to save, and we are done. Make sure it all matches the same name. So Control F, find, count 3 times, so it's all the same here, here, and here. Make sure the name within manifest is the same. It's extremely important, so that this is the same as this. Make sure you streamed it as this Freemode, as male or female, correct name. And now let's go. Oh, the last thing we have to do is actually start our resource. So we copy that, we go to our server.cfg, and we go ensure this, Control S. And now we go to our FiveM server and we see that it all works and streamed as addon DLC correctly. I forgot that we actually need one more file for it to work. So you see, even now it's hard to keep track of things. I've done a lot of piece of clothes, but it's not hard to get confused. So we're gonna need YmtEditor software. It's from this website. You just download it. It's super straightforward software, I promise. You open it up, go to latest version, start exe file, just exe software. There's no need to update it for me. Then just go to file, new YMT. For us, it's npm Freemode male, which is correct, and our YMT name is the jacket. So here it asks for your DLC name, and here which character it is attached to. So your full YMT name is going to be npm Freemode 01 v jacket, which is exactly what we're looking for, which is up to this part. Then we click submit, and now we create our component, addon component. So it's called, we go to components and we add component. In our case, it's JBeep. So if you were to work on lower, which is legs, and beard, which is mask, head, which is head, you just click on it and it adds it. We don't work on head. Do you want to remove? Yep. We add JBeep, which is here. And here we have amount of texture, prop mask, leave it all default if you have it as universal. We can add more textures like this, B, C, LMNOP, but we only have one. So now we go file, save YMT, and we save it to our streaming folder. Oh, it is saved. Now we have 3 files for each add-on piece of clothing. We have 3 files. We can add as many JBeeps as we need. Like we can add new drawable, JBeep 001, 002. Really cool software to work with. Thanks Big for making it. Now really we're just actually gonna go into game and make sure that it all works correctly. Don't be scared about YMT, we generate it automatically because it's hard to do manually, and it's just basically raw data, metadata for your models to work with your textures and your geometry, which is JBeep involved. So don't get into it, just generated manually like I did, and let's go into game. Now that we are in game, I use lambda menu to check out my stuff, link in the description. It's just a mod menu, really, drag and drop one file. It's controlled with numpad, F1 to activate, and with numpad it's 2 for down, 8 for up, 5 to enter, so it's quite straightforward. I go to player, player skin, players, MP male, which is this guy. I hit 0 to go back, then I go to modify skin textures, and JBeep is being shirt jacket. Then I go to, you see there's a list of 30 pages, so instead of going from 1 to 30, I just go from 1, go a shortcut, just press 4, and it goes to the last page. Here is our jacket. It's not bad. So what I notice is that it doesn't match, our butt is too big, so you would have to move this part. This part you would have to move. I'll show you how in a sec. And the same thing goes for our chest. I think our chest needs to be a bit further down. I like how our lower part looks, how it moves, very natural. Looks quite good. So let me show you how to fix this chest as being too wide. Our chest is clipping through, and how to fix our butt being too big. I'll show you in a second. So in order to do that, it's relatively easy. We're going to use FFD modifier, which stands for freeform deformation, FFD box. So if you go to control points, you are now able to manipulate the vertices around the area of those control points. So for example, if you pick all of those down points, so we can do this, but this amount of points is no good for us, right? We have to have more controls. This is why we select FFD box, set number of points, let's make it 6 on length, width and height. Now we have a lot more control points to work with, which will make it a lot more precise for us. Now we go to control points, and I remember our chest is clipping inside, so I select all of those points and I just move it a bit further. You can even select like this, so it doesn't look like he has a huge belly or something. Yeah, like this, and then individually move this part in particular. But make sure that it looks natural. Same goes for this part. It's a bit incorrect. We just, you see, we touch our sleeve, which is no good. So let's say I only touch these control points, those here, and now I just move it like so. Now as you see, it works a lot better, and if I stream it to the game, it will look correctly. So alright, this is the end of the video. You're gonna find this jacket in my store, link in the description, in Freemode clothing. It's gonna be relatively cheap. We have a lot of other stuff here, even like packs of pads, like 5 pads at once. We have a lot of cyberpunk shit. Do follow me on Twitch, I stream quite often. Join my Discord channel where I have help mappers, and please say if you liked the tutorials. There are a lot more tutorials to come, including weapons and other mapping stuff as well. A lot more things to cover. One day I will dive into Blender as well and make tutorials. Please make sure to, if you want, go to previews section of my Discord and say, just show me the jackets you've done, or lower, or wherever, using this tutorial. I'll be super glad to see what you have accomplished, and thanks a lot for watching. There are a lot more tutorials to come. Take care.